Hey there, Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to talk about a lick. I've got a lick for you, but there's a concept inside of this lick, and it has to do with what I call a melodic sequence or a melodic pattern. So let me show you what I'm getting at. If we take something real simple, like your good old A minor box 1, right? No big deal. And again, you could play this in any key. And you should be able to play this any key. As I always say, you should be able to close your eyes and just pick any spot on the fretboard and play your lick, right? That's kind of your goal. You should not care what key it's in. But that's a side note. Let's get back to the lick. So if we take that pentatonic scale, now there's a thing called sequences of 4, what I call sequences of 4, where I'm going to play 4 of the notes. I'm going to start with the highest note, play 4 of the notes, okay? That's it, 4 notes in order. Now, I started at the highest note, so now I'm going to start at the next note and play 4 notes. Now I'm going to start at the next note and play 4 notes. Now I'm going to play at the next note, 4 notes, next note, 4 notes, next note, 4 notes, 4 notes, 4 notes, 4 notes. You could do it ascending, 4 notes, 4 notes, 4 notes, 4 notes, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay, now, at first, as you try that, I know I'm just rattling it off and playing it. I've played this thousands of times in my life, thousands and thousands of times. This melodic sequence is actually from a course I have called Pentatonic Scale and Technique Mastery, and this is literally how I got to where I am today. I pretty much this is how I practiced my pentatonic and blues scales as a kid. Here you go. Like, it's literally just all that kind of stuff. And these types of melodic sequences, you can do 3, you can do 4, you can do 5, you can do 6, you can do whatever. But these types of sequences are really great ways to sort of train your fingers to handle getting around through the boxes and through the scale. Okay, so instead of, the next thing that makes this a little bit tricky is to put it into time. Okay, so imagine if I just do it in eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? And I could continue 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and I could go back up 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and you get the idea, right? You're pretty much, you know, when you practice, yes, you want to go through the whole box, but the reality is in a lick, you're never going to use it that way, as you'll see momentarily. Now, that's part of it, right? We want to put it in some sort of rhythmic thing that makes sense. It's a sequence of 4, so actually it makes really good sense to put it in 16th notes. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E, 1E and a. Okay, that's also cool. To make it potentially easier and potentially a little bit faster, and perhaps even you might like the sound better, the other thing that I can do is I can slur every opportunity I get, meaning I can do a pull-off. Anytime I'm going from a higher note to a lower note, I'm going to do a pull-off. Anytime I'm going from a lower note to a higher note, again, on the same string, I'm going to do a hammer-on. So as I come down, pull off, pull off, pull. Again, keep the timing really even. As I go up, I do hammer-ons. Now, that is not trivial. No getting around it. It's not trivial. If you've never tried to do this sort of thing before, it could be very, very challenging. I'm assuming you already know your box 1. I'm assuming that you kind of are a little bit comfortable being able to do a hammer-on, being able to do a pull-off. But to put that into time and keep it consistent, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E, 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a, right? Okay, so in order to do that, that is not trivial. And it's likely you're going to get some, I'll say, disparity as you try to do the hammer-ons and the pull-offs. It's tough. But this is the kind of control that you want so that when you play blues licks, you have that ability to pull off or hammer on or do whatever you need. If you want to play the faster stuff, you're going to have to get slurs and that kind of technique as part of your everyday vocabulary. It's just got to be normal, just like you picked it, but you didn't. And then you can do it a little bit quicker because your pick doesn't have to get in the way. That's really what it's all about. Okay, now, let's say you can do all that. I'm going to turn up the coolness factor and the difficulty meter one more notch. Because what I'm going to have you do now is play triplets, eighth note triplets, right? 1 and 2 and 3. But we are going to be playing 4-note sequences, which means that the first note of each sequence will always fall at a different point in the beat. Take a second and just wrap your head around that. Because it will take a minute. Now, that sounds really awkward. That sounds really challenging. It might be. If your timing is pretty good, if your counting is pretty good, you'll be able to do this. You will get the feel for it after a while, but it's going to take some practice. But it's a very cool sound. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and okay? Now, again, I just rattled that off. I've played it thousands of times in my life. You're not going to do that right off the bat. Take your time with that. It's a tough, tough thing to do. But you kind of got to be able to, because that's what this lick does. Okay, so what we're going to do, to add a little bit of rhythmic variety, we're going to start on the highest note of the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then starting at beat 2, I'm going to do exactly that move. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and... So I did 4 iterations, 4 beats of this pattern. 1, 2, 3. I guess I should say 3 iterations, 4 beats, right? Because that's kind of when it comes back around. 3 times 4 is 12. You can do the math. It's not an exact science. You get the idea, right? So if I put this all together, and it would be really, really hard to remember. That would be hard to remember all those numbers. 5, 8, 7, 5, 8, 5, 7, 8, 5. I'd get lost. I'd get really lost. But since I know that it's just a sequence in triplets, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and I just ended it with the C and the A. So all it starts with, I have a little bit of rhythmic variety at the top. Right, I gave it a little bit more than a quarter note. Again, don't want to start on beat 1. Come in a little bit early with a little pickup. Let it hold, then start my sequence, then do something rhythmically different to end it. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. that is the lick. It's a very, very cool lick. There's other stuff you can do. Like once you kind of get the hang of it, you can put in like tweedlies and stuff like that. I don't even want to go there right now because that's pretty crazy. But if you can do this really consistently, and then you want to do like the Clapton, Gary Moore, Walter Trout, Joe Bonamassa, whatever, kind of like super fast stuff, you just add in some of those tweedlies to some of those downward runs, and it all just gets real crazy real fast. But fundamentally, it's just that basic pattern. Okay, so a lot of times we have a fairly straightforward melodic pattern or rhythmic pattern or some sort of pattern, and we just mess it up as we go along. But if you can do the underlying pattern, you got it down pretty well. Okay, now the real quick, the jam track, as I was playing at the very beginning of this lesson, is from something I have called 5x5 jam tracks. It's 5 keys, 5 feels. It is my go-to jam track pack, so I'll leave a link to that. Obviously, I'll leave a link to the Pentatonic Scale and Technique Mastery. It's not something I generally talk about. I guess you could say it's a little bit dry. Not everybody is into that sort of thing. But if you really want to learn your boxes and you really want to learn these melodic patterns and you really want to build a lot of technique, it is very, very good for that. Again, not for everybody, but again, I'll leave a link just in case. As always, if you have guitar playing friends that you think would get something out of this video, this would definitely be good for more rock guys as well as traditional blues players. This sort of stuff happens everywhere. So again, feel free to share it. As always, I'm Griff Hamlin from Blues Guitar Unleashed, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.